Let's talk about 4 alternatives to speech as a way for your non-vocal autistic rock star to communicate. So if you have an autistic child who maybe doesn't babble, or maybe they say a few words here and there, but it's not consistent, and you are really interested in finding what mode of communication can I teach my child. Today we're talking all about communication. This is your basic kind of starter package to really boost that communication today. If your child is older, going into teenage years, you might want to consider, what permanent way do I want to teach my child to communicate? But in this video, we're talking about basic Kickstarter communication. We're going to talk about these 4 modes of communication in their level of difficulty on how hard it is to teach these communication skills. Pointing, this is the easiest one to teach. It's usually taught to our young learners, ages 2 or 3. We teach like your basic ASL needs, like more, all done, maybe help and restroom. The next one that's kind of harder to teach is PECS, Picture Exchange Communication System. It's a little book. It looks like this. And this is kind of harder to teach because there are different phases when teaching PECS. And the last one is AAC device, or augmentative and alternative communication device. This is an electronic device that has many buttons and folders for your child to navigate and essentially communicate. Which option fits your child best? Okay, there's 4 different options. Let's talk about it, okay? So if you don't know me, my name is Celeste. I'm a BCBA who's been in the field of ABA therapy for over 12 years. I coach and empower parents on how to better connect with their autistic child, how to really get in their world and teach meaningful everyday skills. Okay, so the first thing you want to think about when selecting what mode of communication is a good fit for my child is going to be their age and skill level. So let's just say you have a 2-year-old who's non-vocal, doesn't babble, doesn't have any words. Pointing is a good one because this is really developmentally appropriate for babies and young toddlers. Typical children will be pointing, and it's fairly easy to teach. It's very parent friendly. A benefit of pointing is that you can teach it anywhere and you don't need any materials. You don't need a book, you don't need an electronic device, you don't need to charge anything. If he has mobility of his hands and fingers, you can teach this skill today. The next one is ASL. If you're considering sign language and your learner is a little bit older, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, and especially if behaviors are really high, ASL is a great way to kickstart communication because it's fast and efficient, and teaching the kids to get their needs met will reduce their unwanted behaviors, will reduce the aggression, will reduce the frustration, will reduce throwing behaviors, shouting, tantrums. Because if your child is able to tell you, I want more goldfish, or I want to be all done with this activity, then they can get their needs met more immediate. Like pointing, I like ASL because it's convenient, because you don't need any materials. For teaching ASL, I just want to back up. I think choosing to teach ASL as a permanent language that your child is going to use long term, long into their childhood, long until teenage years and adulthood, selecting it as a permanent language, a permanent way of communicating, is a different conversation. In this video, I'm talking about basic kind of starter communication, giving them immediate tools. And so when I say ASL, I just mean 4 or 5 really basic signs that pack a punch. Like, for example, the sign more. It's really a general request that can be used for a wide variety of items that your child might want access for. Let's talk about PECS. What the end goal should look like is your child's tummy is rumbling and he's like, I could go for some popcorn right now. So without saying anything, He walks to his communication book, opens it up, flips through the pages, finds the icon of popcorn, puts it on his sentence strip, finds the icon I want, puts it on his sentence strip, rips it off, walks to an adult and exchanges or gives the communication strip to you, and you read it, you take it, and you say, I want popcorn. Oh, okay, I'll make you some popcorn. The mastery of PECS happens across several weeks or months. It is like a more long-term game. This one is really for our learners who are non-vocal and maybe ages 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A benefit of PECS is that it's very low tech. You can make these icons at home. Also, a drawback is you have to make the PECS icons. And we'll talk about the immediacy of the AAC device. The AAC device is an electronic device where the child can tap icons and the device will vocally say or label like what your child taps. This one, like I said, is usually taught by a speech therapist who's trained and certified in teaching this mode. I have experience teaching AAC with guidance from a speech therapist, but it's really, like I said, an extensive, robust mode of communication. The amount of buttons and options is really endless. You could teach emotions and adjectives. Instead of just teaching, I want popcorn, like in the PECS example, with the AAC, you could teach popcorn tastes good, or I like popcorn. So it's really expanding on the language and giving the kids a more extensive vocabulary. Because if you think of it, language and communication just doesn't stop with requesting. For this reason, the AAC is not really like for our young learners, ages 1, 2, 3. These kids are still really small and still developing, and we can't always assess if the AAC would be a good fit for these little kids. It might be the case where vocal language starts to emerge, and then parents choose not to use the AAC. That's my very brief overview of these 4 basic alternative modes to communication. This information is hypothetical based on my opinion and experience. As always, talk with your speech therapist. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what resonated with you. Parents, keep showing up, keep doing the work. From your favorite BCBA, you got this.